This tutorial shows how to create a Jasper report using iReport's designer. This is a report that's based on an existing MySQL database. I've got the connection created already. Visit the Bekwam blog if you want to see how to configure it for MySQL. So I'll start with File New, and I'm going to use the report wizard. And this will let me put in a query, set up a title, and some items like that. So from here I'm going to select a blank template. Launch the report wizard. We'll give a name for my report. Call it SR report. Next. I'm going to enter in a SQL query. I built this query offline in my MySQL workbench. It's just joining a few tables together. I'm going to select all the fields, and I'm going to group by the first 4 fields. And the report's set up, and now you're going to use Designer to arrange the various elements that will make up the report, having just loaded up all the metadata for the underlying data store. I'll start with a title, which I'll implement as static text. Now the report title, page header, column header, detail, footer, those are all items that control the iteration and the presentation of the different elements of your report. So for title, that's put once on the report, and I can add in some static text for that. Apply some very basic formatting. Snapping works really well in Jasper. Now, title is only going to be about that big, so I don't need to eat up quite so much real estate with that. And I'm not going to worry too much about a page header. Now, for my column headers, I'm going to use a different report element. This one's a text field. I'm going to use those for the detail. You'll see that there's an expression, syntax in there. I'll use static text again for my column headers. The third column is going to be a bit longer. As is the fourth column, and everything snaps together pretty nicely. Now I'll enter the header names. And it's actually the fourth one there. Needs to be and I need an element for the revenue number. Okay, one thing that's nice is all of the spacing is set up now. So for the text fields, I can snap it, and matches the section lines, and it matches the elements that were created already. You can see for this one, a nice cursor appears to guide me in the proper setting. These can all be revisited later if they don't come out perfect the first time. My detail, this is going to be repeated for each element in the results set. So for every record being returned by the query, it's going to produce another one of these detail rows. Okay. Now, I've got my headers set up here, and now for the fields, I right mouse click and put an edit expression. Now I'll clear out what's there and just do a simple double click. Same thing with system. Right mouse click. Clear out the default one, double click, apply. And the last field, I'll edit the expression. And apply. Now we've been running in Designer. There's also an XML view and a preview. Preview is going to actually hit the database and pull back a sample report. It also gives me the option to publish and to export from the screen here. So right now the report's being compiled and then it'll be filled with data. And the report returns over here. Now a couple things. It looks like the spacing's okay in the report here. You can go through the different pages. This fund might use a little more, might need a little more spacing. Alignment's not quite right on these guys. But most importantly, there's some things going on with the numbers here, and that has to do with how it was set up in the Designer. I dragged on the text field, and by default it gives it an expression class of string. And as you can see, even though it was a number, Jasper was able to coerce that string into a numeric form. So I'll do two things. The first thing is I'm going to flag this revenue as a number. So right mouse click, field pattern, currency, and I'll apply. That's not quite enough because it's still regarded as a string. So what I'll do is in this properties here, I'm looking for expression class, and I'll set it up as a double, which is what it's coming in as from MySQL. And I'll select preview. And as you can see, there is some values that are coming in here, all formatted. A little more tweaking. I think the reports are very much an iterative process in general. You sort of look at it, you tweak it. This year is taking up quite a bit of real estate. But these are the basics. You can go back and format, adjust the position of the elements, you can style the headers, and do anything else you want for your particular requirements.